In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the slide layer that goes with step 5, 3 balls continuous. So let's just review briefly what we just did for the main screen. So we inserted the text boxes here, and we have the buttons, we have the avatar, and we have this button here. Let's break it down. That's going to trigger the light box slide that we'll get to in the next video. So we're going to create the slide layer that's going to show the juggling animation, but we're not going to have to do as much work as we did for step 4 because it is going to be quite similar to step 4's slide layer for the juggling sequence. So we're just going to go over to step 4 and we're going to copy the slide layer and then paste it in here. So we're now on step 4. Let's go over here to the right bottom corner, and I'm going to go to the juggling animation here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to go back to step 5 and I'm going to go back over to the bottom right corner here and I'm going to say paste. There we go. So we have the juggling animation in there now from step 4. So it's going to be almost the same. But if you look at the cue points here in the timeline, you see how they're spaced out because before we were just showing the learner throwing 3 balls and then after the third catch they stop and then they start over on the opposite hand. But we want this to be continuous. So we're going to make them appear at equal intervals about a ½ second apart. So to do this, we're going to move them down because I'm going to add 3 more cue points here as well, just to show the juggling sequence continuing. You don't have to do that. If you want to just leave the existing 3 sets of juggling sequence here, that's fine. So I'm just going to move them down and then I'm going to space them out a ½ second apart and then I'm going to add 3 more. So let's do that now. Okay, so now I have spaced out the cue points so they're ½ second apart, and I've also added 3 more, so now we have 10, 11, and 12 here as cue points as well. So to go along with these extra cue points, we're going to have to create 3 more arc motion paths, one for the yellow ball, the green ball, and the blue ball, so that we can show it continuing onto another set of the juggling sequence. So go up to animations if you're not already there. And we're going to add another arc motion path to the yellow ball here. So go up to here, add motion path, arcs, and I'm just going to adjust this. And I'm just going to see what number it is. So it's arc motion path 11. So now let's just make sure the direction is correct. So right now it's showing it's going from her right hand to her left. But because this is the 4th throw of the ball, we want it actually to go in the opposite direction. So I'll elaborate on that. So what that means is that the first time that she threw the ball was from her right hand to her left, then her left to her right, so that was reversed, then right to left, and now we're going left to right again. So we need to reverse that path. So we're on arc motion path 11. Now let's go here to reverse path direction. There we go. Now let's create one for the green ball. I'm just going to adjust it again. And again with this one, we went left to right, right to left, left to right. Now we're going right to left, so we need to reverse that path. Okay, and last, blue ball here. Let's just adjust that. There we go. And we want to reverse that as well, but that's because it goes right to left, left to right, right to left, and now the last one, left to right. So it's in the reverse direction. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to add 3 more triggers to go along with those last 3. Now, like I said, you don't have to add these last 3 cue points. If you don't want to, you can just keep it with just the 9 that we originally had from step 4. But I'm just showing you a little bit more what you can do to add to it. So let's go over here, create trigger. We're going to move oval 1, so that's our yellow ball, along arc motion path 11, so that's the 4th one we created. When the timeline reaches cue point 10. And then create another trigger to move oval 2 along arc motion path 12 when the timeline reaches cue point 11. And the last one, move oval 3, the blue one, along arc motion path 13 when the timeline reaches cue point 12. There we go. So now let's go back to the main screen for a second, and we need to make sure this slide layer that we just created or just added in here is going to show up. Okay, so let's go over here to create trigger to show layer juggling animation when the timeline starts. Okay, so we're almost done now, but as you can see on the right hand side, when we created these new arc motion paths, Storyline automatically put in some triggers here, but we don't need these, so we could have either modified these or created the new ones like I did. So I just created 3 new ones here. So let's just delete these. So right click, click delete. Delete this one and delete this one. Okay, because otherwise those will show them moving on the arc motion paths when the timeline starts, and we don't want that. We want it to be triggered with the cue points. Okay, so now let's go back to the main screen and let's just preview this. So we can see the text boxes coming in, and now the juggling sequence has started. Okay, so there's a couple more things we need to do. So those last 3 that we just added, I don't know if you saw that, but they were a bit slower. Remember that all the other ones, we've used a duration of 1 second instead of the defaulted 2 seconds. So let's go modify arc motion path 11, 12, and 13, just so that the duration is set to 1 second. Now sometimes it might be hard to select these like they are because they're on overlapping each other. So if it is hard, you can move them out and then move them back. But let's just see if we can pick them up because they should be pretty much right on top. So there's arc motion path 13. I'm going to change that duration to 1 second. There's arc motion path 12. We'll change that to 1 second. And this last one here should be arc motion path 11. Let's change that to 1 second duration. Okay, there we go. Now let's go preview again. Okay, so there's the continuous juggling sequence. There we go. I think it looks pretty good. All right, so in the next video, we're going to look at creating the lightbox slide, which is going to be pretty similar to the lightbox slide for step 4. So we're going to be copying it from step 4 and just modifying it slightly for step 5.